And welcome back to the final segment of Mortgage Matters today. My favorite segment because we talk about great things going on in the community. Our community outreach segment today features the one and only Karen Profita, one of my favorite people. I'm so glad that you took the time to come and visit with us on our show because you're so darn busy. I mean, Karen, you are forever doing something every time I turn around. You're up to something different. Still have your own radio show here on Talk 107.3 on Saturday style, 11 to 1.
Right.
And then now in your professional role, also, you're the vice president and executive director of the Audubon Louisiana, Audubon Society, Louisiana. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, but Louisiana Audubon is usually, but it's a funny thing because we're part of the National Audubon Society. So we're actually based out of New York.
Yeah, I did not realize that the Audubon Society, which you think of John J. Audubon,
right?
You think of Louisiana, but the society itself is out of
New York. And Audubon really has a history that goes to different parts of the country. There's a house and an Audubon Center in Pennsylvania, and he had lived there and was married. That's where his wife was. So he really was so tied across this country. And when he studied the birds in North America, I think he made a connection to everyone.
So who is Audubon Louisiana?
Yeah, and people get us confused all the time because of the zoo and the aquarium. That's a different group. So this one is the old one, and we like to say ours are free, theirs are behind bars.
I like that.
Yeah, you can see ours right in your backyard.
So there's no connection with the zoos and the aquarium.
No, friendly connection, but that's it. So, and they've got a lot of interest in animals as we do, but it's interesting. It started years ago. Women were wearing those hats with the big feather plumes,
right?
And it was starting to cause some species to go extinct, including those herons that we love so much.
That cannot be true.
It's so true. Those big white feathers that they loved. So it was taking the herons out. And so there was a gentleman who had a magazine in New York, and he got started on, okay, we got to stop this. And all these clubs formed. And it's so funny because then he tried to kind of back off, go, okay, we accomplished what we needed. And the clubs just continued on. So it was just meant to be. There was such a passion around the country.
Now, how long has Audubon Louisiana been active?
Well, that's, it's so amazing because in the 1920s, there was a gentleman, Paul J. Rainey, and his property was given to Audubon as a sanctuary. And it's the oldest and largest sanctuary Audubon has. And so it's on the coast. We're not too far from Avery Island. You can only access it by boat or seaplane. It's this incredible 26,000 acres there. So that has been there for years. That's, like I said, since 1924. Our office, though, is only 5 years old. There's only 23 state offices around the country, and we're the most recent, and that only came about 5 years ago. So it lets us be a lot more active. They realize we're ground zero on what's happening with the coast, and it was important that we have an office here.
Okay, before we go any further, I want to know, how did you end up with this organization?
Yeah, well,
that's what I really want to know. I really want to know because it's got to be something important and significant because you're at the helm now.
Well, it was really interesting because before this, I was in the Lieutenant Governor's office and I was head of the Seafood Promotion and Marketing Board, and I became so aware of what was happening with our coastline. And it was just disturbing to see that we're losing a football field of land an hour. And
is that not unbelievable?
Most of us don't know that. And I mean, it was one of those things that when I first learned it, I would go give a speech and I would say it and then go, okay, I think I'm making that up. Let me go verify. And it has slowed a little bit, but it's still going on at this incredible rate. We've lost like the state of Delaware basically in landmass. So when this came available and I started looking into it, and I've always enjoyed birds, not had the education on it, but enjoyed them, and then saw that really what Audubon's about is how do we also work in conservation? People love birds. Where birds do well, people do well, and that means having a good habitat. So it was just a great chance to take what I was doing and take that to another level and work across the state.
So the Audubon Louisiana, what is your key focus other than when you just say birds? I mean, what is it that you do?
Well, and a habitat is an important part. So we want to improve that habitat. So we are looking at what's happening to the coastline. Again, as we're watching that disappear, that means it's bad for us as well as being bad for the birds. This is an important migratory corridor for birds. So when
Mhm.
they're coming up from South America, they need that place to stop. It's important we've got the land for them and then we have it for us. We also are increasing knowledge, not only about how we restore the coast, but about different species of birds and doing that research. We've got PhD ornithologist on staff, a couple other scientists. Like, our lead scientist just wrote the book on molting. So it's the
All
textbook
right.
they'll be using, yes, in neotropical species. We said molt would be a much sexier title, but I don't think we've convinced him yet.
So I want to talk about some of the birds.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So what birds do you study? What
Okay.
birds are big or well known here? And you've sent me a file
Yes.
with some beautiful little birds.
Yes, and we've got, and in fact, you've got the Wilson plover pulled up right now, and that's just such an awesome little bird. But again, these are some of our beach residents. And so it's very important as we're losing that beach and coastline, they
Mhm.
don't have anywhere to go. So as we restore beach, we're seeing them come back, and we've watched those numbers start to drop. But we also go and band these and a lot of different birds. And just recently, one of these guys was spotted in Costa Rica with one of our bands. We had two of them spotted there. So
In Costa Rica.
in Costa Rica, and we think they're headed down to South America from there. So we still don't know so much about them. We're still learning a lot more.
For someone who's listening and not able to see the pictures up, this is a tiny little bitty bird.
Yes. And you see how they blend with the beach. So
It
the
looks just
interesting
like
thing,
the sand.
they lay those eggs in the sand and you really can't see it. So even people going to the beach a lot of times will walk over those nests without even realizing it's there. It's very tiny little eggs, and so important we do things to help protect them, and also from some of the predators like coyotes that are out there. We're dealing a lot with feral hogs lately, so
Really?
a lot of different things. We put fencing up and try and help them a lot of different ways.
So let's talk about some of these other birds. You have the black rail.
That's a cool
What
one.
is the deal
So,
with this?
Yeah, that is it's not so much rare as it's very difficult for people to actually get to go see them. A lot of people who keep lifetime bird lists, this is one they want to see.
And that's a bird that we see here in
Yes,
Louisiana?
it's on the coast. It's down in the marshes. And as you can see, they go out at night with lights and chains. We use volunteers. Anyone likes to go walk around in the marsh at night, it's the perfect volunteer opportunity. And it stirs them up and we're able to get them out. And this year is the first time ever that we captured and banded one in Louisiana. And now we've got a project going on and we've had a number of them. But again, it's going to allow us to learn more about what they eat, where they go, what happens to them from here. So that's one there that will bring people from all over to come see it. People who keep these bird lists of what they've seen in their lifetime.
So when we talk about birds, I know that a lot of people might think that they like to look at birds, but don't really have a lot of knowledge about bird watching, but might would enjoy. Where do you go to do such a thing?
I mean, it's about getting out there. First of all, just paying attention to what's around you. I mean, it's amazing if you really look. Because I know I used to be, gosh, we don't get any of those pretty colorful birds. And now it's like, oh yeah, we do. I just really wasn't looking and taking that time. But, there's a lot of great places. Birds need water. They need habitat. One of my favorites here in town, though, and where a great place to learn is go to Bluebonnet Swamp. And of course, that's a Breck Park. The first Saturday of every month, they do a bird walk. And so you're going to walk with experts. Sometimes some of our staff are on that too. And you get to go and they're going to show you how to look for them. They're going to explain to you what you're seeing, tell you why it's there. You just learn so much. And then they also on some Sundays do bandings out there. So they put up what are called mist nets, like 15 of these nets around the park. They catch the birds. You get to go with them. Watch them get the bird out of the net, and then they measure them, they band them, they draw a little bit of blood from them. They'll show you, they explain it to you the whole time. Look at these feathers. This is how we can tell how old it is, a little about the bird. And then the best part, they'll let you hold it to release it. And see.
Oh, how precious.
It's awesome. It's great for kids too.
So we have about a minute left. Tell me, how can people get involved? And can they get involved?
Yeah, definitely. Go to our site, go to la.audubon.org. And again, let us know you're interested. And we're posting things there all the time. There's also a great chapter here, the Baton Rouge Audubon chapter, which is a little bit more like a club here in town that's also out there doing things constantly. But yeah, we're looking for volunteers all the time. But yeah,
Do you
just
have
step
any
up.
other events or functions or fundraisers
You know, we're
or
starting
things?
to add more and more of those things all the time. Again, with our being a pretty new office, but we're even going to be doing a dinner with Country Roads pretty soon too. And so be on the lookout for that. In March, we'll be on Lake Martin, and you'll be able to go birding and then have a dinner that's built around what birds eat. And then we're going to eat a bird. Yeah,
We'll keep
we're
that
okay
off the
with
record.
hunters. We know that happens.
Well, Karen, it's so good to see you.
Good
Thank you
seeing you
so much
too,
for coming
Pamela.
on the show. Again, thank you for listening to Talk 107.3 FM. Karen's show, by the way, on Saturdays, 11 to 1. Don't want to miss that. And then you can find out more about Audubon, Louisiana by going online, and maybe we'll catch you at one of these events out at Bluebonnet or a fundraiser or something they have
I have
going
to
on.
have you on my show now.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, I would love to be on your show. And this wraps up this edition of Mortgage Matters. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everyone.